Well, Sentient, that's us. And the subject today is what has the CTD program done for us. So I'm not going to talk about how to win a CTD. I'm quite happy to chat with you afterwards about all the little tricks we've learned along the way. And there are quite a few good ones there. But I'm going to focus on what the benefits of being involved with the CTD program are. And I'm going to... Okay. So we were in round 10, started in 2006. And our CTD was the Sentient UAV Vision System. And all I'm going to do is show you a 20-second video of what it was, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the talk not at all talking about our technology. So the aim of our system was to detect moving targets on the landscape below a UAV. And I'll just run a short video here. And basically all we do, here's some unprocessed video, the things moving on the ground, keeping track of them is very hard. You use our software, process the imagery through our software, as you'll see now. We draw red boxes around the moving targets and number them and track them and all sorts of things. There are all sorts of benefits to doing that, being able to get a good situational awareness about what's happening on the ground. That is fundamentally what we did for our first CTD. It may not look fantastic, but apparently it was better than anyone else in the world has been able to do, and the actual CTD was very much a technical success. And that one we actually extended on as a CTD extension program a couple of years later. But that's all I'm going to talk about as far as our technology. Now we're going to talk about the benefits of actually doing a CTD program. And I'll take you through a little before and after story here. So, where was Sentient before we did a CTD? Well, we go back to 2005. I'm surprised that it's actually 7 years ago when we started this process. It was basically what you would call a backyard operation. There was me and another guy in a studio apartment in St Kilda with 2 computers. That was Sentient back then. We had no revenue, we had no business plan, no credibility, but we had very cool technology. We were basically perfectly set up to fail. We did have a little product that we were trying to advertise, and we did advertise it right at the end of the financial year, and we did get a fellow from DSTO ring up and say, look, we've got to spend our budget before the end of the financial year, and we'll buy one of your little things. And he said, and we do computer vision stuff over here, so if you come over and install it, we'll show you what we do. And I said, well, that's interesting, we do computer vision stuff. When we come over, you show us yours and I'll show you mine, right? We went over there and they actually liked what we could do. And that was the basis of our first CTD, which was to develop that technology I showed you before. Now, move forward 7 years, where are we now? Well, after 7 years, we're a fully developed SME, I guess you'd say. We've got 17 full-time staff. We've got a revenue of over $2 million per annum and growing. We're profitable. We've got a technology now that's recognised worldwide, successfully commercialised. It's in service in theatre now. So Australian Defence Force, both Air Force and Army, are using our technology now for target indication in Afghanistan. And so are other partners in that particular fight. Recognised leader in moving target indication in Australia and the USA. We've got written letters from US Air Force research labs and from the Navy saying that our product has performed better than any other product, including their own internal target indication technologies. So I don't know how we did it, but we ended up having the best technology for this in the world at the moment. I'm sure a competitor will come along at some stage. And we also have several other different technologies in the pipeline. So we've got good finances and a good technology pipeline. So a very much better position than we were 7 years ago. And what was the secret to our success? Well, the most significant factor in our growth and survival was the CTD program. Without that CTD program, just about everyone at our company agrees we would not be here today. We probably would have lasted about 2 or 3 years, and then we would have gone broke and got jobs doing database programming or something like that. So what were the benefits of doing a CTD program that allowed us to go on this great journey? I've got 4 slides here. No more nice videos, just all text to remind me what to talk about, of all the benefits, and that will conclude my presentation. But I think it's pretty significant because this is the sort of stuff you won't read about in the ads. This is the stuff you only learn by having gone through it. Well, first thing you will learn in the ads is you get funding. And for a small company of 2 ex-uni students in a studio apartment, $1 million over 2 years was great. That was our first big break. So that's the obvious one. But what else did we get from it? Well, the way they run a CTD is really good for small companies. And the program management they use was really a key to successful completion of the program. First of all, Alan briefly touched on they have a single point of contact, the Defence Program Manager. This guy works with you. He's not there to beat you up and make your life hell. They actually work with you in a very collaborative manner for mutual success. And we've gone through 5 of these guys. It's not that we wear them out, but they've been very, very helpful. They have a collaborative approach, but in all our dealings with DSTO and the CTD Program Office, it's always been very collaborative. So you work with these guys. In fact, our first program manager, Duncan Watson, he likes to waltz into our office and introduce himself as the 3rd longest serving member of Sentient, because he's been with us since 2005 and only 2 other guys have been there longer. Non-binding target performance measures. Well, these are probably one of the best things about the CTD program. Target performance measures are basically your specs, what you're supposed to achieve, but they're non-binding. So because they're non-binding, you might have a dozen target performance measures in a CTD, and like us, there's 1 or 2 you'll fail to meet because you simply did not anticipate how hard they would be. But there are others you will far exceed. And the beauty of TPMs, they allow you to extend yourself, saying, I reckon we can do this without the fear that if we don't do that, we're screwed. So they encourage you to reach for the stars. And if you only reach the moon, you've still done a really good job. And if you fail on 1 or 2 of them, it's not a problem. And very low compliance load. I have a folder in my office that I wrote many years ago. It's called Government Funding, and then in brackets at the end I have and other wastes of time. Because we went through quite a few attempts back in the mid-2000s of getting government funding because we were running out of money. And all of them had such high compliance loads, just a pain in the proverbial. And they just wasted your time. And I'm sure if you're running a small business out there and try to do government funding, you almost have to have someone there full-time working on these applications, and that someone working on full-time is usually the boss, and then he's not doing what he should be doing. So they really do waste your time. But the CTD program's been excellent. You invest a couple of probably hours to do a good initial proposal, and then if that gets up, you get paid to do a really good detailed proposal. And even through the life of the program, the compliance load is very low. So it's really good from that aspect. And the emphasis on delivering the technology. You don't have people crawling through contracts each meeting. Basically, you have the contract at the start of the CTD, and then it goes in the drawer, and you just focus on delivering and demonstrating the technology. And the way the CTD program is managed makes it really a standout. And we're also involved in the PIC. Other benefits. One of the things we found, we were totally ignorant about how defence worked, and certainly had no idea of who to talk to in defence or how it was structured. But through the CTD program, we got access to a lot of different defence areas that we didn't even know existed. The Capability Development Group, which is really the key drivers of getting new technology into defence. We had no idea they existed. If we'd had invented a new grenade launcher or something like that, we'd have had no idea who to talk to. The technical people within DSTO, and also getting access to operational units. Our Defence Program Manager, based in Edinburgh, took our technology, which was for airborne platforms, walked across the road to the airfield there, where 92 Wing is based with the P3s, and got them to test our technology, which they actually did over in Afghanistan. And he got them to deliver imagery for us to do further work on. And what chances you got of getting real imagery from a P3 to do your own development work on, unless you're connected in defence, which we weren't. Access to our foundation customer, 92 Wing. Access to data and theatre imagery. As I said before, we've got imagery now. I should point out, one of the problems with doing computer vision work is you have to get lots of imagery on which to do all your experimentation on. And our first piece of imagery that we used to demonstrate to DSTO back in 2005 that we've got this cool technology for tracking targets from an airborne platform was a film clip that my partner ripped off a DVD from the Lord of the Rings Twin Towers, where Gandalf is walking up a path. But it was shot from a helicopter through a difficult environment that we could draw a little red square around him as he went up the path. Okay, it ended up getting us a CTD, so it wasn't all that bad, but it's not really good for if you're trying to sell into the US Army or something like that. So getting credible theatre imagery was critical for our success, and we got that through the DSTO CTD program. And we now have one of the biggest libraries of aerial imagery from all sorts of platforms, definitely in Australia, and I wouldn't be surprised in the world, because every time we ask for imagery from any source, the stuff we get back is just rubbish. But it's taken us about 7 years, and the help of DSTO, to get a very good imagery library. Access to US DoD data and personnel. This is amazing. DSTO half-funded for our Defence Program Manager, Duncan Watson, to accompany us over to the US Army's advanced development and prototyping area at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama, to set up a data exchange agreement, which is a government-to-government agreement whereby it's the only way of really getting sensitive imagery data from US forces into Australia. And there is absolutely no way that a small company from Australia would be able to get access to that sort of imagery. But through the CTD program and the contacts, we actually got a government-to-government agreement for the US Army to transfer imagery and other information to us for our analysis. And that's been going on for several years now. US Air Force using the same channel to send us information now, and that's got us success in selling into the US. And I don't know how much you'd have to pay lawyers to set that up, and even then you couldn't, because it's only done on a government-to-government basis. So these are sort of access that being part of a CTD can give you. Guidance. Well, yeah, how to work with Department of Defence, how to work with primes. We have no idea of how to work with primes, and how to work with the Defence Force. They're all three completely different areas. And if you're a small company with no experience in defence, as we were, this sort of experience is, well, money couldn't buy it. Credibility. Well, I guess you know the credibility difference between two guys in a studio apartment versus a company that's demonstrated and got technology in service in the field. It gave us visibility. Mind you, we do have full-time marketing people now. We've learnt that lesson. But you get articles in all sorts of magazines, the actual demonstrations themselves. You get a lot of people from Defence to come in to see them. You get articles written about those sorts of things. We've been invited along on Army exercises to show our technology working. So it gets you a lot of visibility within Defence. And time. Now, I know the CTD program is not there to develop commercial products. In fact, product is almost a dirty word when you talk about CTD work, but what it does give you is time to move along that path. And it has taken us most of that 7 years to take our technology into a commercial product. And we would not have been able to do that if we didn't have the time that we spent developing that CTD demonstration. The last page of the benefits. Access to further funding. Well, we were lucky enough to actually get a CTD extension program, which took our original technology over another couple of years and expanded it in several different areas. And Our latest CTD, which we demonstrated a few months ago, has now been funded further, well, at least one aspect of it has been funded further under the Priority Industry Capability Program. So doing a successful CTD can get you further funding through either the CTD program, other government sources, or just get you on the map, so you might get a strategic partnership with a prime or something like that. It gets you access to other ADF customers. If you can say, we've demonstrated this technology, we worked with DSTO, the technology does this, it's been demonstrated, DSTO technical people have confirmed, yes, it does what it says it can do, that'll get you in the front door when you're talking to operational units. Otherwise, it's a tough job to achieve. And so, putting it in one sentence, we now feel that we are connected to defence. We were totally isolated from defence before, but now we know that we can go in and talk to various people in defence, find out how to deal with them, find out what needs they have, and hopefully find out how we can offer a solution to that. So the CTD program has taken us from just a bunch of clever guys into a bunch of clever guys that can provide real value, both for defence and ourselves, because it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. So in summary, the CTD program's allowed a tiny company with great technology to, first of all, survive, then grow, develop our technology, get connected within the system, commercialise technology, succeed, create a recognised business, succeed on the world defence stage, and then lucky us, we get to pay it all back in taxes. So, thank you.